Hey, if you've ever struggled to motivate your team, your employees, your instructors, this video is all about how to keep them motivated and keep them excited to come to work forever. Hey everybody, my name is Jennifer Waters. I am the Sales and Systems Sensei. Thanks so much for joining me. I actually help martial arts school owners scale their dojo towards 7 figures through our biz ops strategy and having a dojo assistant on their side. We do this for our clients because back in the day, we were in the same exact position as most martial arts schools. We were only generating about $5,000 a month of revenue from our martial arts students. And over a 4-year window, we went from $5,000 a month all the way up to $85,000 a month, then becoming a 7-figure dojo. That's been over a decade ago. And so now that we have our flagship school running and operating and just booming, growing successfully, we decided to listen to those that constantly were asking us, how did you do it and how can you help us? So we created the 7-figure dojo Jumpstart program to do exactly that. Listen, if you struggle with incentivizing your employees and you're just finding that sometimes your team members, your instructors, they're doing great, maybe they do great for a year, maybe 2 years, but then after that they just start to fizzle out, I want you to implement these 3 things that I'm going to show you today that really can motivate and incentivize them. And it doesn't take you saying, okay, if you can reach this level, I'm going to give you this bonus, or when you reach this level, you have a guaranteed raise, which are things that maybe as a business owner you can't guarantee because you don't know what the future holds, and that's okay. Let me show you today how to actually get them incentivized. Okay, the first thing that I want you to do is anytime you bring on a new instructor, I want you to have a 90-day window that has some very clear objectives that you need to achieve with that employee. All right, so in those 90 days, what is it that you want that new instructor to do, to learn, to be like? They need to have focus points that you're taking them through on a daily basis, on a weekly basis that they're trying to hit. Within that 90-day window, break that down into 3 periods, so 30 days, okay? So the first 30 days, second, and then the third. At the end of every one of those 30-day periods, you're gonna have a conversation where you get to sit down and both of you have an honest conversation together. You get to say, hey, you've been doing amazing, you've been doing great, you're hitting all of your focus points every single week, we're ready to move forward. Here's a small increase in pay for you because you're doing a great job. Or you get to have the conversation, you get to say, listen, I just don't think this is working out right now. You seem pretty disengaged. Let's go back to you just being a student. I think that's what's best for you right now. Now, likewise, the employee, the new instructor gets to have the same exact conversation with you. They literally get to tell you whether or not they want to keep doing the job. And by telling this person at the very beginning, hey, every 30 days during your first 90 days, we're going to have an open and honest conversation about how you feel about this job and how I feel about you as an employee, you're going to get way better results. You're going to get people that are motivated far longer. And you start this cadence of communication so that it just goes a lot smoother in the future when you need to communicate to this team member. Now, the next thing that you need to do after you do this 90-day window thing is you actually need to have some type of ranking, some type of differentiation levels that you can have for your instructors. The reason why we instituted this in our flagship school is because just saying that someone was an assistant instructor or an instructor, there was a lot in between that. Like an assistant instructor that's maybe 16 years old versus an assistant instructor that's maybe 25 years old is totally different, could be totally different in their responsibilities. So having different levels of assistant instructor is very helpful, and then having certain specifications that they need to do or earn to get to that level, even more helpful. And then same thing for instructor. Like there is a big difference between an instructor who's been teaching and it really has been teaching large classes or large volumes of students for years versus an instructor who's been teaching small classes or small volume of students for years. And so because of that differentiation, you need to have different levels of instructors because they are going to have very, very different experience levels depending upon if they're able to work with kids, if they're able to work with teenagers, are they able to work with adults? All of these variations are very important. So having those different levels are super important. And then the third thing is that instead of waiting a whole entire year to evaluate your employee's success, break it down into 6 months. So, and tie those 6-month increments into where they are on achieving those levels of employment. You know, how are they moved up as an assistant instructor? And just because they're showing up to work doesn't mean that they're eligible to go to that next level. Just like showing up to class doesn't mean you automatically can earn a new belt rank. It really is going to be dependent upon whether or not that employee is actually putting in the work to level up. But then just like your students need to know the criteria to move up to that next belt rank, like what are the minimum requirements they need to know. Well, your employees need to do that exact same thing too. And by putting all three of these things together, you're gonna see a much more harmonious outcome with your team, and you're gonna see them more motivated all the time. Now, one more bonus tip before we go here, and by the way, if you haven't smashed that subscribe button, go ahead and do that right now so you're notified when we post more videos like this. I mean, it's super simple. Just do it, bing, right now. Listen, the bonus material here is if you really want to motivate a team, you need to host a minimum of a monthly training. Now, in that monthly training, there needs to be some leadership development in that monthly training. You need to have some martial arts that you do in that training, and you need to do something that's going to show them your vision for the future. And if you can tie in all of those elements, you'll keep a motivated and extremely engaged team working for you and helping to change the lives of your students. Until next time, guys, be awesome.